When you're working on a PHP project, you're going to be making files all the time. And by default, when you do this in VS Code, you're going to be getting just blank files, which is a real pain because you need to come in here, you need to fill out the namespace, you need to fill out the class name, and only then can you really get started writing the actual code you want. And it might only take a couple of seconds each time, but it's a couple of seconds that takes you out of the flow of what you really want to do. The TemPHPest extension has a setting to enable new file stubs. So if we enable this and I go back and create a new file, I'm going to call this bar, you'll see it automatically figures out the namespace for me based on my PSR or auto-loading in my Composer JSON for this project. It also figures out the class name based on the name of the file. And it's just a little thing, but it helps save us so much time. It goes a step further as well by following common patterns that the community's decided on. For example, there's a PSR that suggests that if you want an interface, you should suffix the file name with interface. So you do that, and instead of being a class, it will now be an interface. There's a couple of other things as well that are non-standard. For example, if you have a suffix of exception, TemPHPest will automatically extend the exception class for you. Same for things like error as well. So it saves you just that little bit of time. It also goes a step further as well by assuming things based off of your folder structure. So if I have an exceptions directory and then I create a file in there without the exception suffix, it will also assume that we want to extend exception here. And this goes a little step further as well if you're using Laravel. If we look in the vendor folder, we look at Laravel framework, source, foundation, console, there is a stubs directory here. And these stubs are the things that get used when you run the PHP artisan make commands. So here we can see this is what we would expect from a model stub if we run artisan make model. The TemPHPest extension automatically detects the stubs directory, or if you've overwritten it in your project, it will use your project's ones instead. And if you're making files that are in the expected places for a fresh Laravel application, it will use those stubs. So if I come in here and I create a new model, I'm going to call it article.php. You can see it's used this stub automatically. It's importing and extending model. It's using the right namespace based on where we put it. And that is super handy. And it does this for a bunch of different things as well. I can come in here and create a new event and say article created. And you see it figured out all that stuff based on the stub for me. So I can just make my files where I want and it'll work. It'll speed up so much time. You don't need to go back and forth between your terminal and your editor if you prefer using the UI to make files like this. It just kind of works.